All right,
Yeah,
first,
boy.
yeah, first things first. I've ignored this what do you call it? You call this a sub series for the Idolmaster like franchise called Million Live. They had a social they had a like a social network game or whatever the fuck it's called, whatever that game is, like a few years back. Um,
Um,
so at first it's like the main Idolmaster like main Astro series, and then they have Cinderella Girls, which is also like a social media game thing, and that took off, and as we know, it really had its own anime and stuff. But Million Life, I think, because of its relevancy to the original like idols, and I thought I took a liking to it, and so that's like I really and obviously has its own like batch of girls, but it's not as like inflated, not like over like 200 like Cinderella girls did. So I think I'll just take my time in getting to know these like new characters and shit, because
yeah.
yeah. So I've read the Billion Life manga. It's only like there's only around 6 or 7 chapters available if you clean with scanlation, or like typeset it clean like pages like normal manga you would read online. But I've read the rest of the I don't know, like 14, 15 chapters via paste bin. Meaning, like, I would have one side of the screen the original manga raws, and the other side is like a paste bin of like the translation. So I'm like going like scrolling down and clicking clicking each page by page. But I'm very invested on this Million Life sub series, and it's really good. And I went and I started like listening to what you call it their albums. And they have like short they have like drama stuff, and they have like new music, and it's very idol mastery, and I really dig that. It's really good. It's actually it rekindled my love for idol master again. So fingers crossed. I really want a I don't know, like some sort of like anime short, or maybe an actual Million Life season, because I think even if you're just gonna work off from the Million Life manga, I think it's gonna be a strong anime series, if I ever will be. And it's like it's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun because it in that canon, the new idols from that subseries is actually new members for Namco Pro. So Namco Pro is just extended from 13 to like fucking 30 something. So it's really good.
Is like the original cast apparently famous now?
Super famous. It's like it feels like in the manga, in the Million Life manga, the story continued from the Idol Master movie, which is saying a lot.
Right.
Oh,
Which is saying a lot because the main character Haruka in the movie, she was already declared as top idol, and that was like pretty
Hmm.
much their goal. And yeah, it just continues off from there.
Like
And
the
like,
other question I have is because I've never watched any of the Idolmaster series is do they like in Love Live, do they form like a large group and stick together or do they all just follow their own little pathways?
all right, so here comes the interesting part, because in this manga continuity, um, the main 13 idols, they stay in their office, and the new idols that they've hired, or they've got, Namco Pro is so super popular that they have their own private theater somewhere,
Yeah.
and they shoved all those idols in there, and they kind of like
wow.
they kind of do like the AKB48 thing, where they have like they're always having little mini live shows like every week or whatever. And so with Namco Pro Live Theater, they have they perform lives like every month. So and the funny thing is, like, it doesn't have to be like musical shows. It can be like a play or whatever. So yeah, and it follows like the main cast, like Mirai. Mirai is pretty fun actually. The main poster the main poster child. There's Shizuka, which is like a Chihaya rip off, but she's actually a really interesting character. Subasa, the main blonde, she's a fangirl of Mickey, and yeah, like a big fangirl of Mickey. And I thought that was like really interesting. But yeah, Million Life, like they're actually it's legit. It's super legit, and it's fun reading them like idolize like their seniors, their Nobuko Pro seniors, and I thought that was like really interesting, especially like the first time they meet Chihaya, like Mirage is like, oh, you're a pretty good singer, and then like Shizuka next to her is like, don't you know who she is? That's fucking Chihaya. Like, have you heard of Aoitori? Like, no, I don't. Give me your single, I'll listen to it. Like, no, it's just like right here, like so embarrassing and shit. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so, and because this is all, I'm all full on idol mode in the past like 2 months, man. So yeah,
That's scary.
So recently I've decided to pick up all stuff regarding to Wake Up Girls. So that includes the Wake Up Girls anime season, the 3 movies that they released, and their little spin-off short called Wake Up Girls Zoo. And yeah, at first I dropped the anime series because I thought it was getting like too weird and too lewd. And I think that was my first wall. I think it was everybody's wall. But actually, in fact, is if you go past through it, is an actual really good underdog story. Wake Up Girls is a new underdog idol group from Sendai. Sendai is kind of like RI, where like those 2 cities and amongst others were affected by the Tohoku earthquake in 2011.
Yeah.
And it reflects heavily here in Wake Up Girls because they're trying to try to make their town popular again. Or mostly in fact is just getting themselves to become like more of idols and stuff. And you actually see references of like other cities that they were like affected by the earthquake and shit. But that's not the main point. This main point is like why Wake Up Girls suck at at like breaking out into like having a big break, and it's like a really steep uphill struggle for them because they have like a really incompetent agency president, and she's like money conscious, and a newbie start like manager who doesn't know anything about idols. So it's kind of like really rough. It's really rough for them. It took them like a couple of good episodes in just to like make them realize that they're a really functional unit, and the problem is like what I first thought in this series is that they're not gonna like there's this phase in idol world, because like I don't know anything about idols, but there's this phase like from indie to debuting and like indie meaning like they do like non-regular like little small menial stuff. Sometimes they have their own songs like in real life idols, but with Wake Up Girls they don't. And it's really hard for them. They're so far like all the lives they were performing, they're all cover songs and stuff. So it took them a while to like, debut and shit. Yeah, and also there's it's a very small sense of unity, and some of them they have secrets. Some of them have reservations of like either continuing with the group and stuff. And I thought that was like pretty real, actually, because like being an idol isn't everything. Sometimes they treat like jobs of being an idol as a stepping stone to like further their career, and that's what like initially the case in Wake Up Girls and stuff. Throughout the anime, I think most of the episodes in the main series is really them building their they're all trying to break through. It took them like around episode 9 or 10 to finally get themselves in the same mindset, like no doubts and stuff. And I think it took me like around that time that finally I found the show really fun. I was kind of like meh for the first couple like seven or eight episodes, because I just like this one thing to happen just to break out, and it finally ended the season right, kinda in a cliffhanger. And when I think about it, like fucking Wake Up Girls was released in early 2014, and then they end up like a little cliffhanger, and then they released a movie year after, in 2015, like around November, and which actually the stories in those two movies they're actually sequel worthy. So pretty much you have to watch those movies if you want to get on board to the new season of Wake Up Girls. And I was watching all of this. I was watching all of this before the announcement of the new season. So it's like really weird timing.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a really weird timing. But overall, I really like Wake Up Girls. It's how real stuff is, like how they treat idol rivalries. They actually did it better than Idolmaster. But comparing to Idolmaster, it's much more. Comparing to Idolmaster, it's not as strong, I think. But yeah, songs are okay. Some of the songs are really catchy. I might consider to listening to more of their stuff. And not only that, the Wake Up Girls are like they're named after like the real idol group, Wake Up Girls, and they're pretty cute. Holy shit! And more idol news. I am trying to get the platinum trophy for Idolmaster 2. It's an old game.
I thought you were gonna be like, in more idol news, I'm trying to get an idol.
That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. But yeah, I've been holding off for fucking years now.
Can you just like go on to Japan and Japan.com and like buy one like you can Russian wives?
Oh,
Japan.com.
Dude, like they made out the idol occupation to be really, really hard in Wake Up Girls. Like the moment they hear that, oh, you're gonna get a regular spot on TV, you're like, oh, cool, and they're forced to wear costumes and like point out the weather for the week, and it was just like, it was really it wasn't a big step for them, but yeah, it's like them. Most of the time they're having like really tough luck of even to get recognized. Like even though they were like in the movie, they were like signed up for a label, which is like like an actual recording label, and then their initial release of their second single wasn't doing so well, and then they had like a limited time to like sell at least 30,000 copies. They're out there on the streets selling and shit. They're like right there at the bottom, and sometimes they're desperate, and some there's like some really neat drama going on back and forth, but for the most part,
that sounds a lot like Seikyu.
Seikyu?
That's what it's called, right? The voice actor anime.
Oh, Sora ga Seiyu.
Oh, sorry, got Seiyu. Yeah, pretty much.
Seiyu.
Like if
I mentioned that actually, and I was just thinking that the entire time he's explaining it, and I'm just waiting for my moment to chime in and goes, it sounds exactly like Sora ga Seiyu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's kind of like that, but the idol, like they're one of the main rival for Wake Up Girls is it's called the A1 Club, which is actually a mimic of AKB48.
They're a steak sauce club.
Yeah, and far out watching like different idols and like interacting with each other. I think that was like probably the more better parts of the show. Instead of like, it took them like 10 episodes for the main characters to like get over themselves, whatever the personal troubles or demons that they're having going on, and then just like get over themselves and start becoming an actual unit. All right, so yeah, with Wake Up Girls, I've turned from like a non-believer to a believer, and I think Wake Up Girls is actually a really solid franchise. So I'm down to whatever. I'm on a idol binge right now, dude. So right now, I've been a long time Morning Musume fan, and do you know who they are?
Nope.
Seriously? All right, cool. Morning Musume actually shaped what idols are today. Full stop. They made it popular. They made it like the original like idol group is back in the late 80s, early 90s. It's not like like Spice Girls are. When you
Yeah.
think about it, like really popular, really trendy and stuff. Morning Musume started off like the old fashioned, but they made it. The more the times changed, the more Morning Musume caught up with it and made it better. And their first successful like single, Love Machine, was that made Morning Musume a household name, pretty much. During that time, in 1999, Love Machine was like everywhere, fucking like karaoke. They all have Morning Musume have a lot of like they show they appear as guests as like a lot of shows, and also every year at the end of the year, which is New Year's Eve, there's this thing called Kohaku Utagassen, which is it's a show at midnight where you have white team versus the red team. Their white team is like composed of female artists and red team's composed of male artists. And the only stipulation to be in it is you have to be successful as an artist or group of that year to get invited. You don't ask yourself to in.
Nice.
You get invited. Morning Musume did that for like, I don't know, like for 10 years or something. But actually in the recent years, because times are changing, the really popular members left throughout the years, and they've actually like not being obviously they lost their fame pretty much. They lost the Tinder, and like not being able to appear in Kohaku for years is kind of like one of the Morning Musume fans like I don't know, like wishes that they might become super popular again. But anyway,
Yeah.
So I said recent because I've held out. No, not hold out. Let's say I went on a hiatus of being a fan because I was like not a really active fan, but I'm really getting into it, discussing. I've been on to like a forum called Hello Online, which is like a whole heavy idol forum, and I was like interacting with members and stuff. Yeah, this is all new. You never heard of this, but it's fine. But when I start getting into Morning Musume and stuff, that was the time when it was the platinum era, and they weren't popular, and they're not selling. They don't even hit like 100,000 copies, barely even 50,000 copies of their singles. That's how irrelevant, pretty much irrelevant they are, and they stuck through it. So in around 2012 or something, either 2011 or 2012, they finally added new younger members, and they've added like in consecutive years they added like more and more new younger members. As the new younger members came in, the more experienced and older members left, and I thought that was like a weird change. It was kind of a scary change. But ever since their single 123, they've started to, I don't know, they started to hit it right, and somehow, they kind of caught up with the times. I thought there was like a really interesting growth. If I just go to Wikipedia Morning Musume and look at their discography, you can see their chart, their position in the weekly Oricon charts, which is actually really saying something if you're first of the weekly sales. And Morning Musume is like actually hitting that. Actually, they had a good like four release streak of like being first place. So it was better than being like 4th, 6th, or 7th. Really, like as a big name, as a household name of Morning Musume. And yeah, like ever since their like decline in 2009, AKB48 like stepped in because all the popular members of Morning Musume left, all the fans left with them, and then AKB48 just stepped in because AKB48 have like really talented idols, and they're also a good number of them were. A good number of the idols were actually fans of Morning Musume, and they're actually were in auditions to join Morning Musume, but they couldn't make it, and that's why they're in AKB48. It's funny. It's actually funny how that turned out. But now, recently, I've been getting into like now we entered Morning Musume's colorful era. The members are young. They're actually interesting. Like my two favorite idols right now is Haruka, which I posted a picture of her in the messenger chat.
Yeah.
And there's other girl named Masaki. Her laugh is like adorable. Like holy shit. And I'm like I'm missing out like fucking 4 or 5 years of like Morning Musume stuff that I should have like stuck with. But if I realized, because if I had stuck with them, then I'd be even more broke. Because when I started getting into Morning Musume, I was like spending a lot of money on their albums. Getting all their album singles, their photo books, some of that really weird merch that I get. Yeah, far out. Yeah, like I'll show you a picture of it one day. Like all my Morning Musume stuff. But yeah, so I'm actually now pretty proud of being a Morning Musume fan again, because it's like, and the really interesting aspect of it now for them is that there's this blog called Wata in Translation. This is a guy who translates Morning Musume and other associated acts to Morning Musume from the boards of 2chan. So, and that's what I really want. I don't really care what the rest of the world thinks. I actually really want to know what the Japanese fans think, and they're saying like there's now a really good influx of female fans, because as you know, idols and stuff. Of course, you're gonna have this really weird, like in their mid-30s fucking fans. Like, attending like idol shows and stuff, like that's pretty much the norm. But now I think, from what I've heard, like some of the fans of AKB48 in other groups, they were like actually getting bored of what they have now in AKB48. Yeah. They're tired of too many members to keep up with. They got sick of their schoolgirl charm, quote unquote, because like how they see their usual outfits, they're very plaid skirts, school uniform type of thing, the very inspiring thing. And then now they're back to they've migrated back to Morning Musume, because I don't know, I can't find the real answer why Morning Musume again is getting all the attention. I think it's because like some of the new younger like actors and actresses are getting taken notice on some of the members, and I think that just followed the trend or whatever. I don't know. I'm still in research. I know it bores you, but like I did a lot of research in trying to figure out like what the fuck happened in these past few years that I've like paid no attention to. But yeah,
what happened? And someone basically just injected steroids into Morning Musume's ass, and it became much more popular than what it used to be.
There is like, since Love Machine, they've been selling million they've been selling millions on their couple of the first singles since then. And yeah, they've hit like fucking records and stuff. Actually, if you look up in Morning Musume all the way down to milestones, they had a really good number of milestones. Now all overshadowed by AKB48, because the fans of AKB48, they're fucking crazy. They're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know the fans were like fucking, they would buy like thousands and thousands of copies of their singles. You know why? Because each of those singles will give you a lottery ticket to, if you win, you get to attend like a special event. Sometimes, really in rare cases, you would get like a photo with the AKB member. Usually you don't. So how rare that is. and they fucking do it. And yeah, so not only that, the really weird controversy surrounding them. I think one day one fan just gave them like a bottle full of their semen, and it's just not good. Just not good.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
Morgan, why'd you do that?
Yeah, Morgan.
Okay.
The fuck, bro?
Wow. Okay. Sorry, guys. I mean, I just needed to go. I needed to do something. I
Far
needed
out.
to show my appreciation.
Fucking
They
AKB
had
pleb,
two
man.
pent up. What did they do with that bottle, I wonder?
I don't know.
When they got it.
Like some,
What would your reaction be to a pun, like,
like if it's not
getting
if it's
a
not
bottle?
if it's not a bottle, then some of them would have their boy butter around their hands when they and then they go up to the idol and shake their hands with
Oh
it.
my god.
Dude,
Oh my god.
I think there will be. I think there's much awkward like fucking stories that we're not getting about.
Don't they make them like wear gloves or something when they do handshakes?
I think they're supposed to get they're supposed to be checked out before they do the handshakes. Like AKB is so big that I think.
Do you have any semen on your hand?
You only have sweat. You can go. But yeah, I'm actually.
This is fucking weird.
Yeah.
It is. It's fucking really weird. Fucking
And-
Japan. I don't understand them.
and with idol groups, it's not like an actual. Like right now, right now, we're still in an idol war. So like the big names are of course AKB48, Morning Musume, Momo, Iro, Clover Z, and you got really weird idols, man.
I'm sorry. All I can think of right now is like Europe, America, Russia. They're all in a war of terror at the moment, dealing with all these refugees. Meanwhile, in Japan, or the war on idols. Getting
The
crazy.
war of idols.
It's a weird like passive war because they don't. So far, they don't have actual active like beef with each other because they don't care really. They just because I as a fan, I actually understand the appeal of wanting to become an idol. You want to do all the glamorous stuff. You actually you actually have like a weird privilege or pass to like do some fun stuff like going to
Basically,
Hawaii.
The only beef, quote unquote, that they would have with other groups is when the weekly ranking comes out and they get beaten by another group. It's just like, ooh.
Dude, when by other groups, you mean by AKB?
That's when you start sending over the semen handshake boys to fuck with them.
And don't get started with the fucking like idol members getting caught. No, like getting paparazzi by like, oh you. It says here in this picture you looks like you've spent the night with this guy. You're fucking fired.
That's fucked up.
That's fucked up. There is like a weird moral thing going on about whether idols are allowed to like experience love or not. And
I
think we should just bomb them again.
But no,
That's
Jenna,
really fucked up.
I think I heard something like that a long time ago. It's just something for the fans to keep the preservation and the whole picture of innocence about it.
They're fucking people, not slaves.
But the the problem is for the agency's point of view. Like if you're like, I don't know, if you lost that kind of innocence and you just they're not artists. It's a pretty big difference because they're just performers. And I think I don't know, there's no like written hard rule of like what an idol is. It's not like being like a chemist, whatever. Like, you know, like some like I've read around like some agencies are like very, very flexible, but most agencies like no, like there's no dating rule. There don't get caught outside with your like male friends, even they're just friends. Just don't be caught walking around with them, that type of thing. And I've read around in this blog. There are like they have like preventions of the idols to like they found ways to like make sure that the idols don't do that. For example, like they would have their voice trainers or like makeup artists to be gay men. So like because they want the idols to be like comfortable because the guy they want to be comfortable, and they want to like unload and talk to like someone close to them and stuff is like really weird reasons. And sometimes they have to have their producer sons to always be with them and make sure they all have their favorite meals. They all make sure that keep them occupied. Make sure they're not doing like private texting or whatever. It's a weird lifestyle.
Make sure they don't go to the neighbor's yard and bark at them too much. Make sure that leash is on really tight.
Yeah,
I don't know. The
honestly
more we
sounds like
talk
they've-
about this,
It
the
honestly
more
sounds like
fucked up
they're
it seems.
they're treated like pets. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like idols can just quit. Like they're allowed
Quit
to.
and get their life back.
It's not like they have like a whole. No, it's not like their contract will be like, oh, you quit and like, we're gonna sue you because you quit so early. No, they're not like that ever. There's no.
So there are no instances and like some really shady characters running an agency of like a few idols and them being like, okay, I want to quit, and then them being like, well, no, I'm not gonna let you.
Like there's this one part in Wake Up Girls I thought it was fun. No, I don't want to spoil it to anybody's listening, but there was like a weird stipulation that like with this one idol, she can't be, you know what being center is, like Haruka.
I'm assuming is the center
Center
idol
stage,
at the base
yeah.
of a performance. Yeah.
Like pretty much the leading idol, not the leader, but like the center idol who is always going to be on front and center. That's what what the people will see, who they'll see first, and then they'll look out and branch out to the people on the side. This is pretty much the most eye-catching person. So pretty much one of the center, her name is Shiho, from Wake Up Girls rival group, the A1 club, the I1 club, sorry. She's because of their sales was like dwindling because they're not hitting their 1 million quota, and then it's like she's put onto a test to another member of their group, and then it was decided like their A1 club will be split into half. The current center girl will have to sell at least more than the other half of the group, and it's like they kind of like made it drastic in Wake Up Girls, and I thought that part was actually really entertaining, really like how bizarre it gets and stuff. But yeah, that's me pretty much in this past fucking months, just idle stuff. And yeah, I've occupied myself with dancing girls on stage, which actually have a lot of catchy songs, and I have no shame for it. Like
I have to admire your tenacity there, Jen. Just your whole fan self surrounding the idols that you're just going on about. It's like, I don't think I've ever immersed myself in any one topic as much as you have.
It is not a popular like lifestyle, like hobby to like to get into, because I don't know, because of course that type of culture is not it doesn't leave the shores of like Japan or at least Asia, not that much. So because thank God for the internet, the idol culture is actually getting more and more recognized. So, yeah, it's really weird.
By the Federal Bureau of Investigations, or
well,
because fuck,
it's well, they're not gonna catch me with anything dirty ever.
Yeah,
if I ever did anything dirty. But
not you specifically. I'm just saying that culture in general, like. I'm betting some really fucked up, shady shit goes on behind closed doors
that we're not experiencing.
Yeah.
Like, true. All right. We'll see about that, because I got nothing, because whether or not the idols, if they're actually do have weird, shady stuff happening to them. Any former idols, they haven't, like, I don't know, like spilled the beans or anything.
We need an anime about a vigilante superhero that goes around rescuing idols from terrible fucking agencies and just slaughtering everyone in the agency to free their idols.
Oh, what? Okay, then.
That would be amazing.
Well,
It'd be like
if you want
liberating slaves.
If you want idols and violence, then there's gonna be a game be released in Japan.
Sorry, all I could think of was like a Street Fighter Tekken thing, but it's all the different idols from
No.
things,
It's more like the
kind of thing.
It's idol with death game.
Morning Girls versus KGB.
What?
Did you say Morning Girls versus the KGB?
You know
Yes.
what? I'm down for I'm down for an idol group called KGB. Sure.
Me too.
Sorry, I couldn't remember the other name of the other group, so I just called them KGB.
Yeah, they're basically a communist party anyway. So.
And they use idols as their as weapons.
Yeah, as their secret spies that they insert deep. They're sleeper cells.
Alright. So yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty
Oh,
much my
shit.
what's the haps. Sorry to bore you,
Just-
but like there's something like I'm really passionate about. Really.
No, that's cool.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Look, there's something I actually want to ask now between the whole idol group and everything. You mentioned a lot about internet culture and they're becoming a little bigger, becoming a bigger thing here around the world, which I can understand because I've heard more about them. I've seen more about them. I don't know who they are, but they pop up every now and again. But the other thing is like, how is their rivalry going with things like Vocaloids or non-humanoid idols? What's their rivalry stance on that? Do you know at all?
The only direct rivalry with 3D with 2D is only on like singles sales. Or
Okay.
if it like they don't have, I don't. There's no like any like written or like any evidence of like idols having any beef with that. It's just if your latest Hatsune Miku single tops Oricon charts and she's gonna appear in Kohaku this year, then I don't know. Then there's gonna be shit to give because that's kind of new. Like for this only rare instance that like Hatsune Miku is like is bigger than you ever thought of the idea to be, and I think
Yeah.
I think we haven't crossed that era yet. So,
Yeah, 'cause I understand what you mean. Is like when it comes to singles, the whole point about the Vocaloids was they are an open source software, so people can go and make their own music using their software for the vocals, which means they're using a large brand's name technically for like their indie music, which could potentially get big. But that's just it. As you said, it's only singles.
And you know what, like the problems with idols as well is that actual like proper artists in Japan, they're actually some of them are really getting fed up because idols are topping they're topping the charts and also filling up the top 10 chart. So instead of having like real artists to get in there, you would have like AKB on top and Momo Clover Z, like filling up the top 10, and then you would have like better artists like peppered in the middle, which is kind of like for them it's kind of like unfair because like marketing and
They can't compete
and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't like their real talent is getting overshadowed.
Obsessive.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about that politics there. Like I still can't figure out. As far as I know,
Sounds messy.
Yeah. So as far as I know, like right now, I'm just more centered into Morning Musume. Like I don't really care how well the other groups are. Maybe I might branch out a little, but like I'm actually just excited, just more stuff, more content from them, like here in the near future. Because like, because it was a real before this colorful era. right before that was the Platinum era, and it was really abysmal. Like being in the forums then, there other members were really like very poison tongue about it. Like this is it. Morning Musume is doomed in the next couple of years. We're like, fuck. Their producer, the Morning Musume main producer is Sunku. He do you know Rhythm Heaven?
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
He composed all the music in that.
Oh, that's neat.
He's really super talented. He composed like at least 1,000 songs for Morning Musume and all the sister groups throughout the Hella Project like line. Like imagine Namco Pro, like imagine Hella Project was Namco Pro, and Ryugu Komachi within that. Like Iori and Azusai and all that. That small subunit was Morning Musume. And
have you ever seen that Rhythm Heaven porn parody?
Yes, I watched it like 3 times.
Minus like... 88, man. It's fucking hilarious.
I didn't know it existed, but okay, it exists.
Right.
I'm not surprised, but it exists.
Well, we know that what you're googling later.
No, I have no intention of it.
Don't worry, I'll provide you the link.
Yeah.
No, don't.
Yeah, too bad.
Just one thing to add. I'm because Sunka has been doing this idol stuff for like ever since 1999, and he's dedicated like a lot of his musical career. Like he sacrificed a lot of his musical career because he is a lead singer of his own band called Sharon Q, which is like really popular back in the 80s and whatever. Right now, like a few years ago, he was diagnosed with like a throat cancer, and he had an operation on it, and it failed, and he was forced to take out his vocal cords. And
holy shit!
And like with that, and with that biggest change of him, he's not their producer anymore. He's not their Morning Musume's producer son anymore, and he's just
that sounds like the biggest. I don't mean any disrespect to him, but that sounds like the biggest cliche plot twist.
It is
of an anime or a manga. Is like lead singer, producer, famous man can do all of this. Suddenly gets throat cancer.
But
will ruin his career.
But the thing is, he's not just a producer; he's also a songwriter, composer, and all that. And he's the guy who handpicked which girls get to be idols in his under his wing. And he's there on the auditions. He's there, like nearly every like recording of their new songs because he wrote the fucking song, and he would coach all the idols and stuff. So him without his coaching, without using his voice, is kind of tough for him. And so
I should just make the idols learn sign language.
No, but that's just it. It's literally the biggest cliche thing. The one thing that would ruin his career is what happened. The one specific.
Morgan. It's real life, not anime. Shut the fuck up.
Just seems surreal.
Yeah, it is surreal.
It is surreal because
even
real life is sometimes more unbelievable than in the plot of an anime.
So right now he's not.
American president is.
So Sunka-san right now is not a producer. He's he's still a songwriter for the group, and he's like bought a house in Hawaii and he's settled there. So he's just really pretty much sending songs.
If you guys ever get a chance, you should really go to Hawaii. Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
So right now, like I'm
where the Japanese bombed.
I don't know how like Morning Musume will fare like in the near future, but I was like fucking overwhelmed on all this like all this information. Like what the fuck? Like ever since like I stopped in 2012 or whatever. Like shit, so much has changed. All right.
You come back and see Morning Musume is super popular when it, years ago, it was close to being dead, and you're just like, how?
Yeah, how? You weren't like breaking like 40,000 or whatever. And now you're like 100,000. It's not
how.
It's only a tenth of what AQB does, but like they're getting around. Yeah.
Suddenly, in a single year, they get popularity to rival AKB or whatever their name is.
KGB48.
Yeah, that's
AKGB48. Yep, that's it. KGB 48.
All right, so that's it for What's the Haps.
Is that just going to be this episode title? Is How?
How or KGB 48?
How did you get KGB 48? How?
Well, it's like we put emphasis on how quite a bit, but the KGB 48 is like the only thing that caught everyone's attention.